Joining us from Los Angeles is Ronald Spogli. From 2005 to 2009, he served as U.S. ambassador to Italy. He's also co-founder of private equity firm Freeman Spogli. Mr. Ambassador, welcome to Bottom Line. Pleasure to have you on today.
Good day, Mark.
Sir, despite last week's approval of a stronger bailout fund and a second round of aid for Greece, Italy paid sharply higher rates in a bond auction today. Wasn't last week's action by European officials meant to calm fears about contagion possibly spreading to Italy and to Spain?
It certainly was, but as we have seen from the volatility in the markets over the last several months, and certainly increased volatility over the last few weeks, they were not completely successful. You know, this issue really goes back to what happened in 1999 with the introduction of the euro. The euro, as we know, when it was introduced in the banking system in 1999 and then for general purposes 3 years later, it was, as many called it, an imperfect union. It was a monetary union without a fiscal and political union at the same time. And that was so because that's all the leaders in Europe had to work with at the time.
Right.
But everyone recognized that it had issues, problems, and potential inconsistencies associated with it. But so long as the economies of Europe did reasonably well, they thought these could be managed. And indeed, they were managed well until 2008. With the Great Recession and issues that came about as a result of that, the mismanagement in particular of the Greek economy, all of these manifestations of difficulty became very, very apparent.
Mr. Ambassador, last week Italy approved an austerity package in an attempt to reassure nervous investors that the Eurozone's third largest economy won't succumb to the debt crisis. How critical is Italy's future to Europe's hopes of surviving the debt crisis? Would it simply cost too much to bail out Italy?
Well, Italy is certainly very important. It's the third largest economy on the continent. It has been a vital member of every important European institution since World War II. So Italy certainly is extremely important. My view is one of cautious optimism for Italy. Its debt to GDP, although high at 120%, has been something that the Italians are very concerned about. As you pointed out, on the 15th of July, they passed an austerity program in record time. It was done in an atmosphere of political uncertainty, and so the Italians got high marks, if you will, for their willingness to come forward. Giulio Tremonti, who's the finance minister of the country, is known as a deficit hawk, and this is not the first time that the Italians have been able to put together an austerity program in relatively quick succession. So, frankly, I am hopeful that the fundamentals in Italy, although not robust as they are in Germany, are substantially better than they are in Greece. And therefore, I would be optimistic.
We learned earlier this month that the 5 Italian banks subject to those stress tests have sufficient capital to withstand a recession and losses on sovereign debt. Are Italy's lenders sufficiently capitalized in the event of the spread of contagion?
Well, certainly that is a point which bond vigilantes are debating today. Italy did indeed pass the stress tests. And the government has clearly maintained that there is sufficient capital and that they would be in a position to consider additional capital contributions if necessary. But it certainly would appear as if this is an issue that is not yet settled in the bond markets.
Now, Mr. Ambassador, in our last minute, the political situation in Italy, how's that affecting how the country deals with the Eurozone debt crisis? You have the Prime Minister, Silvio Berlusconi. He's under pressure from opposition groups to resign. And the Italian Business Confidence Index, that fell more than economists predicted this month.
Italy is a country which is difficult for Americans to understand. The political process often seems to be quite different from what we experience in the United States, although I would say some of the stalemates that we are currently seeing in our country might rival some of the political intrigue that one sees in Italy. Frankly, the Italian political system is more stable than one might on first blush assume. There is no question that Italy has the ability, they've proven it, to be able to come together at times of crises. Despite whatever issues may swirl around individuals in the government, I think Italy has proven with the passage in particular of this austerity budget that they can do difficult things in record time when they're called upon to do so.
The former U.S. ambassador at Italy, Ronald Spogli, joining us from Los Angeles.